Mistaken brought something up, and it was called the social exchange theory. Do you want to explain that, Mistaken? The cost benefit analysis of being married.
So what it was when Shan had brought up this topic, I was saying that I think part of her question was, what was the benefit, like I guess on both ends, like especially in this, I guess in this era, right, of where we are with marriage, been saying that they don't want to get married, and all of that kind of stuff. And so in sociology, there's this thing that's called social exchange theory, and it's very similar to the whole, like, what is it, the cost benefit analysis in economics, right? Like, just basically looking at the investment that I put in a relationship, am I going to get that out, right? So that's kind of what it is, just on a social aspect. So we essentially take the benefits and we weigh the benefits of a relationship and subtract the costs in order to determine if the relationship is worth it. That's basically what it boils down to.
What do y'all think about that? And the reason why we brought this up, because we're in a new school, we're in a new era of dating. Marriage does not look the same. We just saw Neo walking down the street with two women, which we'll get into a little bit later, which is down Marky Mark's alley. But you have to go in, and it's going to go tie into this conversation. What is it right now? People are pretty much putting it as like, what is it going to cost me to get in a relationship with you? Is it going to be beneficial for me? And men do it and women do it. We both do it. What am I giving up to be in a relationship with you? And is it worth it? So what do you guys think about that?
Before we get in there, can we address our 2 super chats, please?
Oh, sure. They had to do. Let's do that real fast. But that's going to be the next topic. We don't want to go back over the definition a little bit. Do most women have a minimum threshold for a man's income, social status, and physical attractiveness? Yes. We're going to talk about this. Is all in this question, so we'll rewind back. We'll go back. We're going to go over that in this. But thank you for the super chat. Can somebody get that? The yellow is throwing me off.
It says the manic genius, $9.99. Facts. I won't cheat and stay in a relationship, but I will leave if she can't grow with me or if she's holding me back. Shout out to Marcus.
That's Manic. Remember Manic? Manic was the one who said that, and that goes with what he said. I told you that's what he said.
You are correct.
Thank you. All right. So this was a good, so going back to this, because it kind of goes into what we're talking about. Well, we'll pull this up in a second. But what are your thoughts on that? The social exchange.
I think that you got it, Stu.
No, you got it, Mark.
I think that I honestly thought everyone did that. I really did. I think with everything in my life, I try and take a cost benefit analysis, and my determining factor for value is based off my intrinsic understanding of me. So my value, things. So like I place a lot of value on my time with my family and my kids, right? There are other people who might place it on experiences out the country and doing X, Y, Z. I don't see the value in that in comparison to those two things. So when I make a decision, it'll be more centered around how can I be with my family, the growth of my family, as opposed to what other people may expect to see from me. So when talking about women, I make the same type of and now how well would this person create a family? Can I move forward with this person based off longevity and the desired route I see for the family? So I'm 100% doing that at all times. I think everyone should. It requires knowledge of self, though. You've got to know who you are and not care what other people think about that, so you can be that person and make decisions that are in line with whoever that person is. If you make decisions that are in line with what people expect of you, you more than likely will have a midlife crisis, and you more than likely will be extremely disillusioned with your lifestyle. But if you do things in line with who you are as a person, it will line up with what you want done in life, and you can walk around carefree. Like, I don't care. Everything's great. Life's good. I love everybody. That when I be talking about, I don't think anybody has an individual problem. It's all like with the world, everything is an external issue. That's essentially what I'm talking about. People who are manifesting the issue of having lost the fight internally to the external world, and then they're responding to that in real time to other people. So everything bothers them more. It's like, to give you an example, it's like being hungry and somebody's annoying you. It's that much more annoying when you're already dealing with something on the inside. But if you're full and happy and they're being annoying, you might just laugh at them. You might ignore them because you've solved the internal conflict. Yeah, I digress.
Yeah, I think that it's important to count the costs, whether it's, I'm going to the store, I'm going to the grocery store, I'm going out to eat, I'm about to be in this relationship. I think it's important. And I think people do a cost benefit analysis, but I think most people don't have a very detailed cost benefit sheet. Because sometimes when people get married young, what they think they're losing is they're losing on the best person they've ever found in their life, right? They're not thinking about, oh, how they're going to be with kids or, anything like that. The cost benefit analysis is really short. But as you continue to gain wisdom and understanding and how people interact and stuff like that, then that's when the cost benefit analysis sheet kind of changes. So now you're thinking about, okay, well, how does this person interact with this? What's their mindset? What do they value? And all this other stuff. So I think it, like I said, I think it's really good to have a cost benefit analysis. I just think that everybody doesn't really have the same cost requirement thought process. Is like I said, when I got married younger, I was thinking that I could potentially be losing the best person because I know this person is good with kids. I know this. And you're thinking that if I don't do this, then I'm going to regret doing this. You're not necessarily thinking about, well, if it goes bad, how am I going to cover it? What is the long-term 5-10 year goal for our relationship? You're not thinking that. You have very small cost benefit analysis maturity or knowledge at that point. So I think that you got to look at the person individually and how they assess costs, and do they actually understand what the real costs are, or do they just look at the surface like, oh, I got money in the bank, so me spending $5 to get something delivered doesn't matter, versus the person that's got a real smart idea. If I keep spending $5 to get delivery done all the time, now it starts to add up. So it's like you got to look at who's doing the analysis, basically.
I think people don't do a cost benefit analysis at all. I think people do a benefit analysis. How does it benefit me? They don't ever associate themselves with the price that it actually is. Because if they did a cost benefit analysis, then they would understand that they would have to know themselves, as Marx has so eloquently stated. They would have to know themselves first on what they want and what they need. You have to do a wants needs before you do a cost benefit. All people do is I want and it benefits. And I think that's where most people actually fail, because what you want is always temporary, which would make the benefit always temporary. And then the cost pile up from 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 receiving those benefits. And I think that's where the stress and the problems come in. Y'all know me. When my plane is never ever in the air long, I'm gonna say what I need to say and then I'm gonna land it. I'm done.
So I disagree. I think that people do a cost benefit analysis, but they do it with somebody else's pocketbook. We see that so often in social media where people are now evaluating their relationships based on what they're seeing online, or that couple that they think is couple goals that they know, and evaluating their relationship based on that, not understanding the intricacies of what's going on in that relationship. That's how they're doing the cost benefit analysis, as opposed to doing with the person that they're with in the relationship.
I can agree to that. I actually agree with AP as well, and Marcus, you hit the nail on the head as well. In terms of, there has to be a knowledge of self before you can even begin to think about what it's going to cost you being in a relationship with somebody else. Because in any relationship, there is a giving that has to occur in order for the relationship to work, period. And so if you're the type of person that you know that you are not a person that's willing to compromise, a person that's willing to give, a person that's, all of those things that's going to take for the relationship to sustain, and you just are looking kind of like what AP was saying, you're just looking at the receiving part, is just not going to work, unless you know that you're in it for a temporary period of time, where some people are willing to deal with certain things because that's not their end goal. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm away the cost. I know I probably have to deal with X, Y, and Z, but my goal is to have a certain lifestyle. So I'm accepting of dealing with a dude that have a lot of money so I can have access to go on trips, to go shopping, to do all of these things. And I know part of it that's come with it is that I won't be the only one. Am I willing to deal with that? And some women are okay with that. And a lot of times those are women who are sometimes, but not for a long time, right? Because they get to a point where they realize, maybe now at this stage and age in my life, that I weighed the cost wrong. I'm not willing to do that anymore. But it all start with like what Marcus said, and I think that's where a lot of us get in so much trouble, is that we don't have a knowledge of self, and we make decisions based on where we are right now, lacking who we are. And then as we begin to develop, grow, and change, then we go back and look at at what is costing us, and now we're upset that like how they say that buyer's remorse. Now we have buyer's remorse. And yeah, I definitely think the cost, the social exchange theory is true. I think we lack a lot of times the ability to really weigh those things, because we don't know what we want versus what we need. We confuse the two.
I think that can go in several different directions, right? And the reason why I say that is because I also know people who, went off of the whole happiness thing. Like, oh, I'm happy, but happiness can be very it's fickle, right? Oh, I'm in love.
Shit, you know who comes to mind?
Who?
Aunt Pat. Marcus, Aunt Pat, she definitely did a cost benefit analysis. She straight up said it. Like, I've been married for the next time, I knew I wasn't going to marry for the same reason. She straight up said, I knew this is what I wanted this time around. Mm-hmm. And she was good. It made me think of Aunt Pat. Tell Aunt Pat I say, hey.
I will. When she come back on, I'm gonna bust out. But I'm gonna wait till she come on so I could bust out. But all right.
You made a comedian, Aunt Pat?
No, my actual Aunt Pat,
Oh,
my
okay.
father's sister. You didn't see her? She came on. She funny. I love
Oh
her.
yeah. I saw the brief. I saw it briefly because you was she was standing right next to you, right? Sitting right next
Mm-hmm.
to you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I was like, Aunt Pat. I thought you were talking about because she had a lot of women have that story. Like after the first failed marriage or relationship, they about listen, this is what I'm not about to do. And they like, I'm going exactly for what I want. He need to be this, he need to be this, and he need to be this, and I ain't taking nothing less.